Just another one. Look out, Justin, 'cause we coming. Listen up. We don't need no luck if we want these mandates to stop. All we need are trucks. 'Cause everybody knows that Justin Trudeau just can't say no to some trucks. Give it up, give it up, give it up. The only way to get him to listen, lift these restrictions is trucks. A whole bunch of people in trucks. We don't sleep, we stay up pissing in cups just to bring you stuff in trucks. Do a whole lot of business in trucks. These 18 wheels gon' bring it to you. You're done, we're sick of your rules. Enough. And how we gonna do it? With trucks.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Greetings and salutations, beautiful freedom-loving people and patriots the world over. We are back on track and ready to attack. Earlier today, we began covering the Freedom Convoy on its way to Ottawa, Canada, to protest the recent new mandates. Interesting story, a lot of interesting things happening. I believe that the turning point of this thing we've all been suffering through is here, or nearing being here. And thank God for that. The first thing that I do want to mention is that I was sent several messages that our previous reporting that there's 50,000 trucks in the convoy is not accurate. And in lockstep, as you would expect, the corporate media is clamping on to that as, oh, well, see, this isn't true because that there couldn't be 50,000 trucks. And we've got PolitiFact and others on the one side of the coin saying it can't be 50,000 trucks, but on the other side of the coin saying no one knows how many trucks there is. And I just want to mention that in a recent lawsuit against Facebook, Facebook admitted that fact checkers are just opinions. So the fact checkers' opinions perhaps is there could not be 50,000 trucks in the convoy. I have seen all kinds of different estimates of how many trucks are actually in the convoy. And we're seeing an awful lot of footage that would seem to indicate it's an awful lot of trucks. And I find this attack the numbers philosophy here is very problematic. It is obviously tens of thousands of vehicles. From the images that I'm seeing, of course, I'm not a mathematician. I didn't sit here with a counter as the trucks all went by. I don't believe that anybody can give us an accurate reading of just how many trucks are involved in this convoy on its way to Ottawa. But there is various people reporting various things, including the fact that there are many, many more trucks on the way from both the United States, various states in the United States, and from British Columbia. We've also seen this this situation has erupted into protests, similar convoy freedom protests in other countries, including Denmark, Iceland, and Brazil, among others, I believe, that will be popping up. Apparently, there is also trucks from the United States that will be joining with their Canadian brothers in trucking to join the protest. And this is what I'm hearing from various sources that appear to be good sources. People can argue over the exact number here, but I think that is extremely problematic. I'm going to cite fair use here as we share some drone footage. You know, I don't want to report inaccurate information, so I will say I don't know how many trucks. Initially, many people on Facebook, Twitter, and other sites were reporting that there's at least 50,000 trucks. Now, the people opposed to this freedom-loving protest, peaceful, by the way, so far, peaceful protest, are attacking both the numbers that people are reporting, saying it couldn't be, and also saying, well, there's a lot of pickup trucks and things in this convoy, so they're not all 18-wheelers. Okay, I get it. If you want to be extremely accurate, sure. Most of the convoys I've seen have had big rig 18-wheelers, some with trailers, some without trailers. And there is regular vehicles in there. There is also RVs, because many people who are truckers aren't actually driving their truck to this protest in Ottawa. They're driving their RV, so they have someplace warm to stay, remembering that it is below zero in Canada. Not a very good time to do an outdoor protest, right? And additionally, yes, there's trucks, regular cars included in the convoy. So it would appear that the people that don't want to see this situation protested peacefully are going to attack both the number of vehicles and what type of vehicles. But I do believe the facts are important. So I'm not going to say there's 50,000 trucks. I don't know how many. And in fact, even PolitiFact today in their fact checking, one line from the fact check is no one is entirely sure just how many trucks are on their way to Ottawa. So let's leave it at that. There's an awful lot of trucks on their way to Ottawa to protest the totalitarian despot dictatorship that is attempting to force on them a procedure that they would prefer to not get. And again, we don't give any medical advice here. My advice to you is consult your doctor. And make the best decision for you. So we have cited fair use. I'm going to show you some drone footage. I'm going to show you some drone footage here. And I apologize, but there may be copyrighted video in this, so we're muting it. We can see some police vehicles blocking truck stop access. Yeah. So here's some drone footage of, this is one section of the convoy. So for people to say there isn't 50,000 vehicles, okay, maybe there's not 50,000 big rig trucks. This is the convoy. A portion of it. This is a small portion of it that somebody got drone footage of. For people to belittle the number is kind of funny to me. It's almost as if they're trying to, I don't know, downplay the seriousness of this protest, to downplay the, somebody said it's a Guinness Book of World Records, longest convoy in Canada ever. And people are claiming that this will be the largest protest ever held in Canada. But of course, that's someone else's opinion. So you're free to form your own opinion. However, I've been looking at footage like this all day, and I don't know that the people who are claiming there are not 50,000, vehicles involved in this convoy have been as diligent as me in trying to get a sense of what is truly happening here. And here we see a drone flyover of a parking lot filled Maybe this is the same one that police were blocking access to. The point remains that there are an awful lot of sources out there showing just how many vehicles are involved with this particular situation. And I, for one, of course, I don't want to give anybody inaccurate information. However, this thing appears to be massive. And for people to sort of downplay it, it's interesting to me that the corporate mainstream media, there is a total blackout. There is a total blackout here. They don't want you to see this. And we've got more evidence of perhaps a conspiracy to cover up what's going on in Canada right now. Interesting times that we live in where we cannot trust our own journalists. The corporate mainstream media is there to brainwash and control you and to toe the party line and do what they're told. These people are not journalists. Why is no one in the United States covering this? Why is no one in Canada? The CBC is covering this all wrong. They were caught turning the cameras backwards so as not to show the massive crowds of people that were rallying in support of this movement. I find that extremely manipulative and problematic. Why do they need to manipulate the story? Why can't they just show what's happening like we're doing here? Is there some agenda at play here? Is there perhaps some direction given to the corporate media by the government stepping on their necks? I don't believe that any government wants the media to do their real job here. And that, my friends, is unfortunate, but this is where we find ourselves. We are in the middle of an information war. Big tech is not helping. Stamping out, deleting posts, censoring posts, claiming that these posts are misinformation or disinformation. I'm sharing drone footage that appears to be accurate and from the part of the convoy on its way to Ottawa. I don't find that to be a problem. Why are people not supposed to see this? Could there be a reason that they don't want people to see this footage? Could there be a reason that they are going on the attack against these protesters and these brave patriots? Now, along with the fact checking saying, "Oh, it can't be 50,000," which I don't know that I disagree with, but I can't verify for you with any degree of certainty that it is 50,000. So I will relent on that point and say it's a great big convoy full of trucks. I don't know how many thousands, tens of thousands, maybe. We don't know. No one knows how many. And the corporate shill journalists and mainstream media, which is bought and paid for by certain, pharmaceutical companies. Look at how many ads they run for those companies. Don't want you to see this information. They don't want to report accurately. They're not doing their job. Maybe they should be out there counting trucks, right? Where's NBC, right? Or how about CNN? Let's send Anderson Cooper, who interned at the CIA. Did you know that? Anderson Cooper of CNN. His college internship was for the CIA. Let's send him. He better dress warm, Anderson Cooper. Get a good coat. And we want you to stand out there on that highway with a clicker and click how many trucks are driving on their way to Canada so we can get an accurate reading. After all, you're the professional journalist. I'm some indie hack here, Anderson Cooper should be out there with a goddamn winter coat counting trucks. That's what I think. But this is my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. So the political fact checkers, all left-leaning certainly, and by the way, for those unaware, I just want to make sure that I put this out there before I get called alt-right, far-right, right-leaning. I'm not. In fact, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent because I refuse to be a part of either of those teams full of criminals. And I've talked about it on my show before. Just picking a side, it doesn't do anything. saying my team of criminals is less a team of criminals than your team of criminals doesn't help anything. We desperately need more political parties in this country. I'm in the United States. And, it's both sides of the coin, in my view, are terrible. So I refuse to be a part of that. I'm an independent. I certainly have my own beliefs. I'm very liberal when it comes to social issues like gay marriage and trans rights. And I suppose that I lean right on other issues like fiscal responsibility and other things. So I'm an independent. It's a big club, and I ain't in it. I'm not a part of either of these teams, so I could be objective and try to bring you the truth of the story without my bias getting in the way. Because neither of these clown teams are my team. I'm not on these clown teams. So, as would be expected, however, that the left is now labeling this entire thing and all this protests, all the truckers, the entire protest, they're racists now. And what is the source of that? Well, perhaps there was one gentleman, I believe his name is Pat Price, who was a big leader in this movement, made some disparaging comments towards Muslims and Chinese people. So they've labeled this entire movement racist. I don't know about you guys, but I get a little tired of them playing the racist card, right? How many times have we seen this? If you can't win the argument, call them racists. So I guess they're all racists, right? This is a bunch of racists. And what's the other evidence that they're racist? Somebody had a Confederate flag on one of those trucks. Now, we can forget about the fact that the Confederate flag is often used as a symbol of rebellion. But I agree. Maybe it's racially insensitive or historically insensitive to fly a Confederate flag. It's not something I would do. I wouldn't put a Confederate flag on my vehicle or my home or any of that because that is a symbol of slavery and hatred to some people. It's offensive to some people. I get it. But somebody finding one truck with a rebel flag on it, saying, they're all racists. All these people, this entire movement are all racist, is a bridge too far for me. And I think that is just typical of how the game is played. If you cannot win the argument with logic and facts, then call them racists, right? Or Nazis. That's another great one they like. Must be Nazis. I don't understand what we're coming to in this country, where we cannot just respectfully disagree without resorting to calling somebody a racist because you disagree with them. And by the way, just to be clear, if somebody's made racist comments or they're definitely a racist or a member of some racist organization, hey, I condemn that, right? I grew up poor in Philadelphia, right? It was such poor white people and poor black people. I don't condone anybody making racist comments, but to label an entire protest alt-right and racist because you disagree with them, it's a bridge too far. It's just too much. Now, we have an awful lot of information that we could get to. And apparently, the Freedom Convoy has raised some $7.5 million. That should tell you something about the amount of support that these people have. If there's any indicator, please pardon me. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. One moment and let me do that. Always forget to do that. And then it pings away. Let me do that right now, friends. There we go. So we've got an awful lot of information to share with you about these about this Freedom Convoy on its way. Some of the trucks, of course, have already arrived here. But I thought it important that we first point out some of the mainstream media's failings here, because there is a convoy of trucks from British Columbia on their way to support the Canadian truckers and participate in this protest. But the CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Company, first they reported that those British truckers, they had nothing to do. They had nothing to do with the Canadian protests going on. That was them protesting dangerous conditions on British Columbia highways. The pushback for this false reporting was so much that they then had to give an editor's note. On the weekend of January 21st to 23rd, truckers based in BC held two separate convoys. Oh, yeah, we forgot about that other convoy. That other convoy that was heading to Canada that we told you was protesting road conditions. No, they're not. They're not protesting road conditions. They're on their way to Canada to protest the mandates. This is false reporting. But this is what we get. And only when the pushback was strong enough did they decide maybe we have to put an editor's note in there. Great. And we reported previously that Mr. Trudeau is such a coward that he has retreated to his cottage, claiming that he has been exposed to the virus and must quarantine himself. Very convenient that he has to quarantine himself right when those truckers are reaching the seat of power in the country of Canada, Ottawa. So we've got some live feeds we're going to be sharing tonight. We've got some stories from people on the ground we'll be sharing. Thank you for joining us here. Here we see a collection of live feeds here. People still heading there. Hurry up, Anderson Cooper. Count these trucks. I see 3 more there in that frame. Maybe a few more in these other frames. Interesting to note that the entire mainstream media in the United States and Canada is not covering this. Not a mention in England either. So we've got England, the United States, and Canada largely ignoring this very important story. And, I wonder why that is. I mean, I know what I think, but so we've got some other information. We'll be returning to the live feed. We've got some other information that we can, of course, share with you, courtesy of Facebook. And this, of course, is our Part 2 live coverage of the Freedom Convoy on its way to Ottawa, Canada, to protest. Now, back to the number of truckers going. Of course, I have not verified this, but this is making the rounds on social media, so I'm including it here with the disclaimer that I have no way to verify or fact check this, though I did try. Total USA truckers going to Ottawa on January 29th that we know of so far, and this Steve Wilkins is a trucker and an organizer of some of this protest activity, claiming, this is Steve Wilkins claiming this, over 15,000 truckers are coming from California, over 10,000 truckers from Michigan State, over 5,000 from Ohio, 7,000 from Illinois, 10,000 from Texas, 5,000 from New York, 5,000 from Washington State, 5,000 from Florida. Now, if this is true, if it's true, that would be 50,000 trucks just coming from the United States. But again, and here, friends, there are various reports, and I've checked this myself. It would appear that suddenly the traffic camera system all over Canada is having huge problems, and traffic cameras all over Canada are being shut down or having technical issues. Could it be that some people don't want people to see just how many trucks are on their way to the seat of power in Canada? Is it a coincidence that the traffic cam system in Canada is suddenly having massive problems and people are unable to get the live feeds? I know what I believe. You're free to believe that which you will. And just something I thought was funny that I managed to capture from Twitter. Trucks are rumbling, narrative crumbling, media fumbling, journalists bumbling, politicians stumbling, mandates tumbling. Isn't it humbling? And this, of course, is under the hashtag on Twitter, Truckers for Freedom. We're going to skip that one. Theo Fleury, I copied this from him. This is facts that the media is not sharing. The trucking convoy is not anti-vaccination. It is the anti-government. It is anti-government mandates. Many of us are vaccinated. We simply believe that every Canadian should be free to choose and face no discrimination or restrictions on their freedom due to their choice. According to this, the Canadian Trucking Alliance is a spineless private organization that does not speak for us. That is another thing that the left-leaning media is clamping onto. The Canadian Trucking Alliance has come out strongly against this protest, which is interesting to me because it leads me to believe that they don't care about their members. Shouldn't the Canadian Trucking Alliance allow their members the choice? This goes on to say no more lockdowns, no forced vaccination. And yes, it is a force when you choose between a shot you don't want and the ability to feed yourself. We're being told truckers will not block emergency vehicles at any point ever and will not even assist any person in need at any point in the convoy or protest. Safety plans are in place. Drivers have been briefed and signed documents at their respective checkpoints. The money raised, now over $4 million, I believe it's over $7 now, will be distributed following a strict procedure. Drivers must register, check in with their respective road captains, and submit receipts in order to be reimbursed. All remaining funds will be donated to a veterans association. See, there's a good thing. Something else good will come out of this. The remaining funds will be donated to a veterans association in Canada. There is a lawyer and accountant overseeing this. Well, that's good news. We know the funds won't be misused. This goes on to state that this could be the single largest protest in Canadian history. People who oppose government mandates are not the tiny group that the media has tried to make us believe. We are significant in numbers, growing by the day, and we will not back down. See you all on the flip side. God bless everyone who is fighting for our freedom and our futures. And I say good for them. Okay, so we've covered that part of tonight. I have some additional videos to share and more information about this Freedom Convoy and the protests about to be underway in Ottawa, Canada, over these mandates. Let me just get to 1 second. I'm going to get to my email where I have some reports on the ground from some people that arrived in Ottawa today. One second, friends. I'm going to cite fair use. This is transformative work. We're educating the public about what's going on in Canada right now. And welcome to our Canadian friends who may not normally be here joining us. We've had an awful lot of new users earlier, new people in the live chat. Trying to cue this up right now. You'll have to excuse me. Being your own producer sucks. Let's do it this way. That's better. Now I got it. One moment, please, friends. I've got an awful lot of information to share with you. And I think it's very important that independent media share this information because we are just not seeing the coverage. It's being largely ignored by mainstream media, both in the United States, in England, and in Canada. And I find that curious, especially if this turns out to be the largest protest ever in Canada. Why wouldn't people cover that? It's a world event. It is news. It is newsworthy. Shouldn't that be covered? I would think so. Let's try this one more time. Make sure I got the audio. Didn't have it. Good thing I checked. All right, here's one of the truckers, God bless him, who arrived in Ottawa today.
Here we are. We have arrived in Ottawa. Now, most of this convoy followed other routes, and they went to staging areas, and then they're going to be brought in probably within the hour or so. I didn't do that. What I did is I just kind of broke off, and I went downtown. I came right into the city. I'm downtown right now. Currently, I'm actually parked. Where the hell am I? I don't know the name of the street.
Look where he's parked.
Street, but anybody that knows Ottawa will know that I'm parked right now. I don't know if you can see that. That's police headquarters. I'm in front of Ottawa Police Headquarters. So I'm going to stay right where I'm at right now. I'm going to probably give it about an hour or so and then work my way down into the city, right down into Parliament Hill. From where I am right now, I'm about 1.5 miles from Parliament Hill.
Yes, and I'm in possession of various reports from various truckers arriving in Ottawa today. And they're setting up staging areas. It would appear that tomorrow would be the day of this massive protest, when all of the trucks in the convoy apparently are going to go to Ottawa. And this could be a logistical nightmare for the authorities because, I mean, even if it's not 50,000 trucks, let's say it's 10,000. 10,000 trucks descending on downtown Ottawa is going to be a logistical nightmare for them.
Which is where I would really like to be. I already took a tour down there. And the Ottawa police and the RCMP already have barricades up everywhere. Although they have opened all of the truck routes. They've opened all of the truck routes, opened all of the non-truck routes. Anywhere that's not a truck route, unless it's a per se like a residential street, you can't get down. But they've opened up all the parkways and everything else that is not truck friendly. So that's good. Actually, they're working with us. It looks like they're working with us. But they are prepared. I went right down to Parliament Hill and drove right up this. I think it's Montreal Street.
Yeah, and I just want to remind everybody that certain media outlets are painting this movement as an alt-right racist movement. Not about you, but this guy looks like a hardworking trucker. Looks like somebody I'd like to have a beer with, right? Painting all of these people as racist is despicable. I mean, did they take a poll? Did they check on each one's social media posts throughout the history of their lives before they paint it with such a broad brush, claiming that this is a racist alt-right movement?
The street that runs right in front of the Parliament buildings. I ran right down. The barricades are up, but the police are there, and they're being real cooperative. Like at one point, I pulled over and I asked them, like, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is where I want to go, and they were really good. They directed me, and I had no problem with it. And actually, I pulled a U-turn, and they blocked traffic for me while I pulled a U-turn to do it. So that was really good. I'm really happy with that. So far, I'm impressed with what's going on in Ottawa. And the cool thing is, all the driving around, like right now I'm parked, and people in their cars are just honking their horn, supporting what's going on here.
Pardon me, my mic was muted. I believe that the support for this movement is much larger than the media would like you to believe. Everywhere along this sort of parade route of this convoy, we saw thousands and thousands of people showing up as the convoy goes by to support these people. Maybe this is not just about mandates. I believe that it's about more than that. It is about people who are tired of totalitarian dictators deciding what we do, when we can do it, or what procedures we have to undergo in order to maintain our way of life and ability to earn a living. But again, we don't give medical advice here. My advice to you is consult your doctor and make the best decision for you with your doctor.
Well, the whole time I was driving around down, I was up and down, I was up Queen Street, Montreal Street, Queen Street, Kent Street, Elgin Street. These are all major streets in Ottawa. And I was just bobtail, and I'm just up and down these streets, and all I was getting was honks. People on the side of the street cheering. There's people with signs that are working their way down right now, down to Parliament Hill. This is going to be a big day today. And this is Friday, right? So just imagine what this is going to be like this afternoon, because people are working right now. Usually Ottawa is one of those cities that, you know, you come into on a weekend and it's a ghost town, because probably about 60% of the population in here work for the government. So they're not working on Saturday and Sunday. So tomorrow, you know, it's going to be a ghost town as per workers. But today's Friday, so it's going to be busy as hell in here. So there you go for now. I'll catch up with you, and I'm just going to kind of thread these together. So I did this. I've shot this here now.
Yeah, so we've got various reports coming out of actual Ottawa. I've got more things to share. Just bear with me. Another ground report. And again, this is fair use. We're educating the public about the situation going on right now in Canada. Here are some other people reporting that no. Here are some other people and footage from just a bit earlier today. Snowy, cold day. I admire the dedication of these protesters because it is cold out there in Canada. Some have arrived. Oh, sorry, I have to mute that. Copyrighted music. It would appear that many people are arriving in support of this movement. It's not just the truckers. We've got, you know, people arriving with signs to support them. Now, I did notice that a few people are saying that there could be a January 6th type of event, but I'm told or was told that this is intended certainly to be a peaceful protest. So let's all pray for, no violence. Let this be a peaceful demonstration in support of people's rights and freedom, and not get violent. There we are. Paul Cargo commenting, how could he be a racist in Canada? They only have the one. Yeah, no, there's African Americans in Canada, not many, not as many as the United States. And there's the indigenous people and natives. I know at least one Mexican, my Mexican Canadian friend that lives in Canada but is from Mexico. Apparently, he jumped the first border wall to get into the United States, and then he figured, let me jump that Canadian border wall. It's probably better up there. But shout out to Mario Heat, who was just in our live chat earlier. They definitely have other races there, Paul Cargo. But in my experience, Canadian people are extremely polite, well-spoken, and kind, right? And we have other things to share with you. We've got some live feeds. We've got a scanner feed. This will be interesting. Let's try that. Thanks to my contributing producer, we've got a scanner feed of the police. Somebody's Live streaming Freedom Convoy 2022. Let's see about this. And of course, there's no sound. Why is that? Let's back it up.
Sorry. I've got one here. It's a broken down vehicle, just came in, just west of Kirkwood.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to have a lot of broken down vehicles soon. And this is monitoring OPP, CB radio, and LAD frequencies. See if we can't get.
I'm going to switch over to 2 Ops 38, and I'm heading back to Smith Falls.
10-4, safe travels.
Would appear to be an increase in police activity due to the protests, which I guess should be expected if they're going to have that many trucks, however many trucks coming in. Interesting times that we live in. We can get the feeds from police and CB radio and get a sense of what's going on the ground there in Ottawa. As we await, I suppose the big event will be tomorrow when the protests will begin, and most of the people, I assume, in the convoy would be arriving. Patrick Sheehan says, how many people are now going to be without essential items because there aren't enough truckers to haul food and meds? Yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't know if these people all just took off of work to do this couple of days or how that works. Gunner65 wants me to post the link. I will do that. I'll put it right in the live chat so you two can follow along if you choose to. But it seems to be a little boring so far. Not much. It's not broadcasting much. Let me go over to the live chat and we will share that for you. 1 second there, Gunner65. I'll get it right in the live chat for you. Unfortunately, I have to go. I'm going to just put link to police feed. And if you want to follow along with that, you certainly can. And some other live feeds that we could share. And now it would appear that, of course, night has fallen, so things are calming down, it looks like to me, on the streets of Ottawa. But lots still going on. Let me share that one more time so that we're sure we got the audio.
There are people stepping up from Oshawa. This is Eileen, out and over.
Thank you, Foxy, for this. And please, let's not talk about those kind of things. We just want to stay positive, and what's happening tomorrow needs to be in everybody's mind, and nothing else should be in every mind. Sorry.
We'll go a little bit back here.
I don't.
So we can see what's been happening on the streets.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm driving and I don't have a lot of good reception. Can we break the channel for Lonely Gear Jammer to come up with an update? He's in West Convoy now. Thanks, guys. Break, Lonely Gear Jammer.
Yes, and it would appear that there are convoy captains and teams of people. This is appears to be very well organized from what I have seen. There are convoy captains with a certain number of other trucks and vehicles and protesters with them. They're all communicating via CB radio, of all things. Remember those? Yeah, truckers still use them. I grew up using those. My father was big into CB and ham radio. But interesting that they are so well organized. We've got the convoy captains, and we've got a team under each captain. The captains are communicating and organizing this protest.
No, a guy named Kevin had kicked me out. I had already confirmed my email address. I'm handy and capable, so I've just been sleeping, and I woke up and looked, and it said that Kevin kicked me out.
Oh, interesting. Thanks, Katie. I did not know that. So she started the GoFundMe. And what is the GoFundMe up to? $7.5 million, I think?
Oh, absolutely. I think a parking ticket violation. I think 100% we should be having funding for that. And you submit your parking ticket and we pay it. No problem. Breaking
I agree, Jello.
Driveway. I think
Jello Putin.
That violates laws now. You're obstructing emergency vehicles.
Before Asana, there wasn't enough coffee in the world to get all the things I needed to do done.
I apologize. Somehow they've got commercials playing in one of the feeds. We'll try to paste that. There we go. And we've got some live truckers in one of the feeds. We've got cars joining the protest.
Well, if this is what he calls a small fringe group, I'd hate to see what he calls a movement.
Yes, this is, don't worry, friends. Justin Trudeau said this is just a small fringe group.
From Wetaskiwin, Alberta, there's a big convoy heading to Edmonton from Calgary, and I'll be in it. Go Truckers!
Yeah, it's good to see that these people have the support of the people.
There is
They certainly don't have the support of the media.
But it's not for Thunder Bay. I'm not sure what's going on, but if I can get someone to message me the address for the food place in Thunder Bay, please. Thank you. And a good shout out to the young kids.
Yes, Mike, they want to end the mandate. That, I believe, is their stated goal.
Breaker, Shelly here. I'm at the caboose, 177, very last one. So we're at 177 caboose. That's the last marker.
Well, there you have. I believe that means 177 trucks in that group.
At the rally at the legislature, there are convoys coming in from Atchison, Nisku, and Calgary, and other surrounding areas where we will meet at the legislative building at 1 p.m. We'll see you there.
I just wanted to give a shout out to my father-in-law. He is a grocery truck driver. He's still out there delivering groceries to where he can, BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. He got in a wreck in September last year and wrecked his truck, but he got back out there. He bought a new truck and he's still going. He's 61. So thank you so much. I appreciate all he does, and thank you for all you guys are doing. Keep on going. We deserve our freedom.
Wow, Paul Cargo. So it's even YouTube channels are ghosting this
I wanted to know
story.
if anybody knew when the convoy was leaving Van Cleek, Ontario tomorrow. I'm coming from Montreal and wanted to join them on the 401. Thanks.
I believe it's leaving at 10:30 tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Ash
Dobbs. I don't know where the heck any more trucks are going to be, but bring them all up. This is an amazing feeling. It's absolutely pandemonium here.
And now, I don't want anyone to get me wrong. I'm not coming in here pushing Christianity on anybody, but Canada's fighting for freedom. Freedom was built on the faith of God. And that's what we have to fight for.
It would appear from this and other live feeds, I'm monitoring other live feeds on my other monitor screen here, that more and more vehicles are arriving in Ottawa. Downtown Ottawa is getting very congested and appears to be, I would say, getting problematic for the local, authorities.
Constitution, our rights, freedom, people, freedom. That's all I'm saying. Okay, go back and look at it. They all have faith in God. It was all Christianity that come together. Okay. So take that how you will. I'm really not trying to push it on anybody, but when we're in this chat, we really need to keep that in mind.
I just got home here in Winchester, and Highway 31, which turns into Bank Street, which goes right to Parliament Hill, I didn't see one truck. Come on, guys, let's go.
I believe their
I
intention is
just
to
saw
fill
Rebel
the
News
city with
release
these
a
trucks.
press release. It's
Maybe shut the
breaking
city down.
news about Ottawa's bridge. If moderators could look into that and advise the convoy if they're not aware. Thanks.
Good point. The truth.
Sorry. There's a big convoy heading from Calgary to Edmonton, and I'll be in it. Let's do this. Support and love from my whole family.
Yes, God bless that
Love
lady's
you
dad.
all. Let's go Canada and truckers.
Looks like the spirit of trucking is going to be around for a long, long time. I am myself the son of a truck driver, and my whole family is truck drivers. Thanks, you guys.
I didn't know that. Really, Paul Cargo? Is that true? Is that really? Come on.
Can I have some love for all the truck mechanics out there?
Honestly, I live like 3 kilometers from Parliament and I haven't heard anything.
I'm going to catch this up to date to live.
Watch yourselves. So just run anybody off the road or you don't.
I see a bunch of freedom vehicles with Canadian flags at a bunch of motels. It's kind of eerie because we know how much energy is about to build up in this place. So
Yeah, this would appear to me to be sort of a calm before the storm. It's very calm and peaceful, but we can see that this thing is building. So those people who said there wasn't 50,000, okay, there's lots of thousands at least.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's burn that fuel. We'll sit there all long. It don't matter how long we sit, we sit.
It was a YouTube. I don't believe it was on Facebook. Give me a second. I will get you the name of the gentleman who was doing.
Okay, so we're going to stop this one. I have some footage from earlier today, right at the Parliament building, that is interesting, as some of the V is asking, what is this about? This is a massive protest of truckers all over Canada that are descending into Ottawa to protest the mandates. Yes. Aaron Flores in our Facebook Live feed saying, you already know those whom Albert Pike called the atheists and nihilists will be there to try to provoke something the garbage media can spin. Yeah, and whenever I think of them, it's interesting to note that Antifa is on site. I've seen various reports that Antifa is on site in Ottawa right now. Now, I don't know what they're intending to do or what. Sure. Patrick Sheehan saying, freedom, Jesus, truckers rock is all I hear. There is no taxation without representation. No one knows what they're protesting. I think it's pretty clear that they don't want the mandates. And I also think it's pretty clear that our so-called representatives don't represent us. If the majority of people don't want mandates, why are they forcing them? I don't know. I believe that the government should represent the interests of the people. And if the people want something, they should do it. If the people don't want something, they should not do it. What can you do? So shared that one already. Let me see if this is from a live feed earlier today, but I think it's very, very interesting. We're going to share this one as well. This is, no, wrong one. Jeez, pardon me. I have so many things to share here that we're getting confused. I don't think I've ever had this many tabs open during any live show in history. There's just so much information coming in. We are being flooded, but I appreciate the flood. So people are still emailing me. People are still emailing me new things and footage from earlier today. We will do our best to try to share with you what it is that's happening in Ottawa right now. Now, this video is labeled live, but just a word of caution. Of course, it's nighttime now. This is from earlier today. One more try. This share audio button is the bane of my existence. I always missed it and miss doing it. Here we are. So this is from earlier today. As
down for some reason, not too sure why.
This is from earlier today, as members of the convoy began arriving at the Parliament building in Ottawa to begin their protest.
Battery's still good though for a bit. Yeah, I know. Live stream just dropped like that out of nowhere.
Ditto, Spooky.
I'm here for you guys. Don't worry.
Gunner mentioning a winter storm is about to hit. Sure. So appears to be, people filling in earlier today at the Parliament building, but very peaceful so far. Let's pray that it continues to be peaceful. Katie mentioning Trudeau's done. Canada's firing him, and he will no longer serve a purpose of his handlers.
We gotta start this back up from the beginning.
Sorry, friends. Didn't have time to strip everything of the ads and make my own, so we will have to manage. And here at the Parliament building earlier today.
My stream dropped. Yeah, so I had to restart it. I don't know, it's out of nowhere. The program just got cut. Yeah.
You use program for it?
Yeah, I'm using Prism.
Does it keep your money?
I use a free version of it.
So people are here at the Parliament building, and it appears as the stream goes on, more and more people arriving at the Parliament building, and more trucks in the convoy arriving to protest what they believe is an injustice.
Let's get 10,000 viewers, guys. My phone's about to die soon, but I'll be back on later for sure. It's too cold out to charge my phone, so I can't put my battery back right now, but share. Get a 10,000 right now.
Yeah, see, that might not qualify as a truck right there. It's not a big rig. Glitch Loop says he's pro mind your business. Interesting times we're living in, especially for Canadians. They're usually pretty nice people, right? People have had enough of this. They just have had enough. I don't believe this is about mandates. I believe it's about the whole mess. Apparently, people are tired of this totalitarian rule, and people have had enough and would prefer that they are no longer forced to do what the totalitarian rulers decide they should do. Interesting times that we are living in. Oh, here we go again with the commercials. So I apologize. That's about it that I wanted to share just right there at the parliamentary building. We'll go back to the other live feed that we have here, which is more recent. It is actually a live feed. So bear with me as we get that back. Of course, I X'd out of it, right? Yeah, I do have an article from the Independent. Let's go to that. Gobstopper says they control everything. Don't sell your soul as well. Yeah. I have an article to share from the Independent. So we're going to cite fair use. This is transformative work. We're educating the public. This is from 1 hour ago. Trucker Convoy Live. Drivers in Canada threatened with arrest as Rogan and Musk celebrate mandate revolt. And just to be clear, yes, Joe Rogan and Elon Musk apparently are celebrating that people are protesting these mandates. Here we see supporters of the Freedom Convoy of truckers driving from British Columbia to Ottawa in protest against the vaccine mandate. They gather near a highway overpass outside of Toronto, Ontario. A convoy of truckers opposed to the mandates made its way through southwestern Ontario on Thursday as it continues snaking its journey through the heart of Canada. The article was from yesterday, but it's been updated an hour ago, so pardon me. The protest is being organized by Canada Unity, a group that opposes health measures. Its leaders want Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and its government to drop the vaccine mandate for truckers crossing the Canada-US border and do away with other public health protections. The Canadian federal government instituted mandates for cross-border truckers throughout the country, but as many as 32,000 or 20% of the 160,000 Canadian and American cross-border truck drivers may be taken off the roads due to the mandate. And this is according to the Canadian Trucking Alliance. Some high-profile skeptics, such as Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, have praised the protesting truckers. Mr. Rogan stated that Canada is in revolt, with the Toronto Sun claiming, so there's the source. People are attacking me. The Toronto Sun claimed that 50,000 truckers will end up completing the journey to the capital. I don't know how trustworthy the Toronto Sun is, but it's not just the Toronto Sun making the claim that it's 50,000 truckers. But again, I don't want to argue the point of just how many it is, since apparently the authorities in Canada have no idea how many trucks. The Trucking Alliance in Canada is coming out against this protest, and they don't know how many. It's hard to get a gauge of just how many. I think we'll know by tomorrow just how many, when we see exactly what happens when they all arrive, right? By contrast, Minister Trudeau has characterized the protest as a small fringe minority who are on their way to Ottawa who are holding unacceptable views. And according to CTV analysis, many people who donated to a GoFundMe for today's protest did so under false names, including those of Justin Trudeau and his wife. Some Freedom Convoy donors are using aliases of well-known Canadians. Well, as well they should, because people are getting attacked if they go against the system. Ottawa closed the bridge. Ottawa officials have closed another major thoroughfare as the protests continue, this time the Alexandra Bridge. Alexandra Bridge closed demonstration, the city of Ottawa tweeted. OPS directing traffic, duration unknown. So I suppose the city of Ottawa, in an attempt to stop this convoy, closed the bridge. Because, that really shows, support for democracy and freedom when you're shutting down bridges to stop protesters from arriving. Here's a look at what Canadian truckers are protesting, what they plan to do this weekend, and why. lorry drivers dismissed as small fringe minority by Justin Trudeau undertake epic journey to demonstrate against loss of federal exemption from inoculation rules. Here's what Justin Trudeau has said about the protests. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has called the truckers protesting in Ottawa a fringe minority with unacceptable views. Protesters have reacted to those words with a mix of outrage and glee, with some sarcastically throwing the phrases back at Mr. Trudeau on social media. As the demonstrations continue, here's a closer look at what Mr. Trudeau has said. Trudeau blasts fringe minority behind trucking protest convoy. Yeah, he said it's just a fringe minority. It's nothing to worry about. I think that he might be worried because, after all, Mr. Trudeau ran away and hid in his cottage while these truckers were arriving at his palace, right? Well, it's not a palace, but, you know, the king didn't want to be in the castle when the people with the pitchforks and the torches arrived, I suppose. This report goes on to say, police repeat warning that violence will be punished. As the protest in Ottawa continues, police have reported their warning that violent demonstrators will be prosecuted. They state, we welcome peaceful demonstrations. Yes, and let's all pray that this is a peaceful demonstration from beginning to end. The Ottawa Police Service tweeted on Friday evening, public safety is paramount. There will be consequences for persons engaging in criminal conduct, violence, and or activities promoting hate. So they said, we welcome peaceful demonstrations, but don't get violent. I think that's very reasonable. Freedom honks continue outside of the Canadian Parliament. As truckers in Ottawa continue to protest for freedom, they've made it clear that freedom is very, very loud. Yeah. 1 second. Let's just make sure that we have. Here we are, and here is people arriving.
Woo!
Interesting group of people. And I would ask you, after seeing, you remember, this is just one overpass. This is one location on the way to this thing. On the way to Ottawa, this is one of the locations. So I would ask, does that look like, you remember, this is just one location. Does that one location look like a fringe minority of people with unacceptable views? It doesn't quite look that way to me. It doesn't look like a fringe minority to me, but that, of course, is my opinion. And yes, it continues to get loud in Ottawa. Here's a view from a hotel room in Ottawa earlier today. Here we have a view of Ottawa from a hotel room in Ottawa. And yeah, the honkers are in support of these people protesting. Interesting. Again, you know, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. It's just a small fringe minority of folks. V commenting, it looks like multi-generational capitalistic madness. Maybe, yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure what else we can do. We have a live feed. Oh yeah, we have a good live feed here of what's going on in the ground. Pardon me, I'm just previewing it here. So we can see there are more and more trucks arriving in Ottawa right now. There are police barricades everywhere. Let me share this with you, the audience. Glad to have you all here. This is a live feed. We've just put it a little further back so we can see some of what's going on there. This person is apparently, we're going to see one of the roads that's blocked.
Check out all these trucks here. And head to Pimisi Station, O train station, and head home. Hopefully the O train works. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the support. Thanks for joining me. Tomorrow's going to be even busier. What's that?
You're not the tree.
No, I wanna get Katrigi's, yeah, and I wanna circle back and forth and then end up back here. Yeah. So that's my plan.
I just thought that.
Yeah, well, there's lots of people on the ground who are live streaming what's happening. We're trying to share that.
Some trucks because they say there's only 100 trucks. Well, looks like a lot more. Someone asked what time tomorrow. I'm going to be back at noon or just before noon tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Is there a button for this light? Oh, here it is. Come on, that's good.
And here we're viewing a live stream from just a few minutes ago.
This should be interesting.
Someone live on the ground here.
Tomorrow. But I'm excited. Hope you guys are too.
People beeping in support of the truckers, of course. Remember, it's just a small fringe minority of people with unacceptable views. Look at that line of trucks. The small fringe minority. So this person is streaming live on the ground in Ottawa right now as more and more trucks are continuing to arrive for the peaceful protests against what they believe is tyranny.
I know a lot of people dropped off in the chat while
Good point, Torvik. I didn't even think of that. Wow, you're right. We've got two streets filled. Pardon me, filled with trucks. Absolutely filled. Yes, I'm told that some of the unions do not agree, V. In full transparency. On the rise, can I get anything? Like a watch, maybe? But I'm glad you're here. Late or not. We're always glad to see you on the rise. Gobstopper commenting, the people are the country. Yes. Glitchloop says, bunch of racists, no doubt. Yeah. That's it. They're all those goddamn racist Canadians, Glitchloop. Funny, I don't see anybody with white sheets over their head or anything. Pillowcases. I don't see any KKK members. I don't see any Aryan Nation folks. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that it will affect the supply chain. Apparently, all these people took a day off to do this, and they've apparently got the weekends off, or so I've heard. So, and in some cases, it is not a trucker themselves, but the family of a trucker who is joining in the protest. Families of truckers are joining in the protest. We don't know who all is there, or if they are all indeed truckers or just supporters of truckers as well. Yeah, good point, Mike Gambly. You could be right. So here we are broadcasting a live feed showing more and more trucks continuing to show up to the peaceful protest in Ottawa, Canada tonight, protesting the mandates. Interesting times we are living in, friends. And I truly believe that this isn't all about the mandates. You know, I think this is about a lot more than that. I think people are sick of the restrictions and totalitarian dictators who tell us to do one thing while they do something completely different, do whatever they want, right? We've seen it time and time again. Here in the United States, the elite ruling class make the rules for the rest of us, and then they go do whatever they want and break it.
Wow, thank you guys. Thank you for that. I think someone asked, where am I? I'm on the Sir John A. Macdonald Parkway.
And we can see that there is, it is, you know, some people are right who are being critical. It's not all 18-wheelers. There's some trucks in there and RVs and regular vehicles.
Sorry, whoever's calling me, I can't answer. Should be watching right now.
So more and more trucks arriving to protest in Ottawa today. Has the Canadian rebellion begun?
Well, looks like this is it for now.
Apparently, these truckers are rebelling against their federal government. Katia says, tomorrow our Indigenous will lead the convoy. There will be Canadians from all walks of life. Justin Trudeau is blackface and a coward. He retreated to his cottage, claiming that he was exposed to the virus and had to quarantine for 5 days, conveniently right when all of these truckers are arriving at his palace, right? Very convenient. Be nice, everybody. There's people having disagreements. It's okay to disagree respectfully here in the live chat, right? But there again, more and more trucks arriving. Convoys from the United States and British Columbia should be arriving by tomorrow, from what reports I'm getting here. We're still here trying to get more information about what is happening on the ground there in Ottawa. But here we have a live feed of more and more trucks arriving, being stopped by police at an intersection, I believe. The police have closed down the intersection they were trying to turn onto, I believe, to go to the Parliament building. I'm getting various reports that there are roadblocks being put in place from the Ottawa police to prevent them from, filling up, I suppose, the Parliament Square there, where the Parliament and the other castles of the ruling class elite are situated. That's what their aim is to go there. But this may be enough for them to just show their presence, let their voices be heard. And regardless of what I believe about the Fauci ouchie or any of that, I support everyone's right to peacefully protest. Here we see some police presence. Message from Spooky. Great. We'll do that. 1 second. We'll check in with my messages here. People will have to excuse me, but I'm getting flooded here with emails, DMs, and PMs right now. Spooky sending me a message. We have a Keen Bext at the real Keen saying, I'm 2 hours out of Ottawa and in front of the convoy. The front of the convoy has already arrived on the outskirts of the city. It's happening, and it is big. So we have various reports from people on the scene. Elon Musk commenting earlier, generating an awful lot of media interest. He commented, Canadian truckers rule. Elon Musk joins Donald Trump Jr. cheering on vaccine protest, barreling towards Trudeau. It would appear that the Canadian media, some say, has mass formation psychosis, because apparently the Canadian media is not covering this, at least not to the extent that some of the independents are, largely being ignored as a fringe group of people with unacceptable ideas by their leader, Justin Trudeau. B. Baker commenting, the truckers aren't taking away anyone's rights. The government is. Yeah. Interesting stuff. One second here. Try to clear some of the clutter here. And my thanks to this brave person that's braving the freezing cold. I think it's below 0 in Ottawa. Let's check on the temperature.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
-1 right now in Ottawa, Canada. So thanks to this brave soul out there trying to get to the truth here. There are many people live streaming this event. There is tons of footage. I've got more and more things are still pouring in. In fact, so much that I'm having real trouble keeping up with everything. You'll have to excuse me. I'm my own producer here. I want to show you some footage from earlier today. Bane of my existence, this share audio button. This is some footage from earlier today. As the truckers arrive. Remember that all these people and their supporters are just a fringe minority of people with unacceptable ideas. This is just one highway overpass on the way to Ontario. Fringe minority. Okay. See if we can't move on to some other things that people are sharing on social media. And of course, people are making fun of Mr. Trudeau's statement that this is just a small fringe minority. And here's one protester holding a sign that says just a small fringe minority, as we see a line of trucks about a mile long behind her. Yeah, small fringe minority. Yes, for people wondering about my scenery, to clarify, okay, so the cars on the side are people parking for convoy viewing. This has become an event today for many people, going there and supporting these truckers in their efforts. And it's good to see that this has been largely, I'm going to use that term, it's a largely peaceful protest. It's a totally peaceful protest so far. We haven't seen any violence break out. We haven't seen any major issues. I'm going to check in with my email. I'm sure that people are sending me more things that we could share to try to give you a sense of what is happening on the ground tonight. Interesting. And I want to thank one person in particular. Also, I wanted to say that if we have any Canadian citizens that would like to join the show, we'd like to have your opinion. I'd like to hear what you think about what is happening in Ottawa today. I'd like to hear what your opinion is. Do you support this effort, this protest, or are you against it? All opinions are welcome here. I mentioned at the top of the show, I don't have a political affiliation. I'm not on one side or the other. I don't have an agenda. I just thought that this story was important and may really be part of what may be a turning point. I, for one, I sincerely support people's right to peacefully protest and express their views, as long as you remain peaceful. I do not support rioting, looting, and violence, and never will. Katia says, take down Trudeau first, then the monarchy. Yeah. Mike Gamboli with an excellent observation. If only we could have shut this down a year ago. You know, I'm very torn because I understand the need for some restrictions and for trying to do what's in the best interest of the public. The problem that I have largely, and let me know if you agree with me in the live chat or leave a comment. Have we not been lied to from the very beginning of this thing? Maybe if they didn't lie to us so many times, we wouldn't be experiencing what some people call COVID fatigue right now. Many people are tired of being lied to. We were lied to in the United States from the very beginning of this thing. And in fact, there's a famous clip of members of the media and Joe Biden stating things that were completely and factually inaccurate about that medical procedure. How if you got it, you wouldn't get the disease. If you got it, you wouldn't be able to transmit the disease. All that turned out to be lies. And don't get me started on the leak theory that we weren't supposed to talk about. Do you know that journalists, content creators, and more were canceled for even suggesting the leak theory may be what happened? It's as if the time between you're a conspiracy theorist nut and, oh, well, yeah, that was true or could be true or most likely true is about 90 days now. That's troubling. And let's not forget, of course, 15 days to flatten the curve, right? 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We're on 2 years now. Curve's not flattening, right? And part of me thinks we're just going to have to learn to live with this. But life must go on. We must have the ability to earn a living for our families. We must have the ability to feed our children. And no man has the right to stop another man from doing that. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. Now I'm losing track of what we were going to do here. Oh, yes. So one moment. Someone is sending me new information. We're trying to stay up to date here in what we're able to report to you. Yeah. See if we can't get that. So somebody is sending me it's a tribute to Canadians, the Freedom Convoy 2022 to share here. But we have to convert things because when we try to play some things from YouTube, it's terrible. And that's a software issue, right? V says, there must not be a single nurse in the live chat. Are you looking for a single nurse? Who's looking? What? Patrick Sheehan says you stated your point very well. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I've been bottling up all this stuff for 2 years now. I haven't said anything about this because it's dangerous to even discuss anything on certain platforms, including this one. But we've been very careful, and I'm going to state again for the record that we make no medical claims here. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. I advise you, if you want medical advice, don't get it from me. Go to your own doctor or follow CDC guidelines. But even that could be problematic, I suppose. I found a transcript of a Rachel Maddow show where CDC Director Walensky was stating absolutely, positively, factually inaccurate things about certain things. And those things are never corrected or fact-checked later. It's interesting to me. It was from March 21st, 2021. And during that broadcast, the CDC Director Walensky said all kinds of things that are completely and totally known to be wrong and factually inaccurate now. But again, we've been lied to so many times here that, so pardon me for not trusting the government or anything they say. How many times do you let somebody lie to you before you say, I'm not listening? I'm not trusting anything you tell me is accurate anymore. We have been lied to since the very beginning of this thing by the rich elite ruling class who has tried their best to single-handedly destroy the middle class. I said it on our previous broadcast, and I truly feel this way. The rich elite ruling class don't want a middle class. They want to destroy and decimate that middle class. They want the kings and the peasants. They don't want that middle class because that middle class may have enough resources to fight them on their tyranny. The peasants are too busy trying to eat every day to fight or stand up for their rights. Not always, of course. I shouldn't paint with such a broad brush, but this is just the way that I feel. And the fact that during the lockdowns, I could go to a big box store that's the size of a warehouse and be in there with 300 other people in a terrible, situation where the ventilation is terrible, and be told by our government that that's okay. You could do that. It's not dangerous, but it's somehow dangerous for me to go to a local hardware store. Those people, the mom and pops, all the mom and pop, single proprietor businesses, all were forced, mandated. You will shut your doors until we tell you you can open them again. That is an injustice. That should never have happened. And we can see anybody that's stupid enough to believe this, any of these governments. Look what they did to all the business owners. They tried to destroy everyone. And the whole time, all the big corporations were making out like bandits. Walmart, record profits. Home Depot, Lowe's, record profits. Right? The big supermarkets, record profits. Every local deli in Philadelphia, do you have any idea how many small corner stores there are that poor people with no vehicles depend on to get their food, their milk, their eggs, their bread every day? Do you have any idea how many of those stores were shut down during these lockdowns for months and months and months at a time? Thousands of them. Thousands of single proprietor businesses all shut down by the federal government. And they tell us to trust the science, but somebody has to explain to me how the science says it's okay to be in a warehouse-sized building with 200 other people or 100 other people, but it's not okay for me to walk to the corner store and get a gallon of milk from a single proprietor business owner who's trying to feed his family. No, we got to shut all those small businesses down. Maybe, just maybe, these politicians did exactly what their corporate overlords wanted. You shut down that entire city, destroy every bit of competition that we have left. All those local stores, the mom and pop owned, salons, barbershops, delis, restaurants, pizza places, Chinese food. We got to destroy those businesses It's not safe to go there during this crisis, but it's certainly safe to go to Walmart. And of course, it's safe to order everything you need. It's safe to order it from Amazon. If these people are going to tell us to trust the science, somebody needs to explain this science to me, because none of this makes any sense. And I think the people are increasingly waking up and becoming tired of this tyranny that continues to go on. Now, I heard somebody mention, isn't it Canada? I'm trying to locate, yeah. And along with all this, we've got supply chain issues already. So I think that pissing off the truckers is an extremely bad idea. But, you know, this is my opinion. Maybe we shouldn't piss off the truckers when we've already got supply chain problems. Yeah, and we've got misinformation and disinformation galore. Who do you trust? Who do you go to? Who's a trusted source of news anymore? They've all been wrong about so much of this stuff. And nobody ever, you know, they never come back on and say, remember when we told you that if you got this thing, you won't get sick and you can't transmit it to others? Gee, we were wrong. They never said that. They never corrected themselves, right? But again, I'm not giving any medical advice. Consult your doctor. My point is that the mainstream media have been incredibly wrong on this thing, on many, many different issues. And also this rush to censor people who are simply having conversations like Joe Rogan. Let's cancel Joe Rogan now. And by the way, good for Neil Young. I don't like your music anyway, bro. You got maybe 2 good songs for your entire career. He tried to cancel Joe Rogan. And what about this? All those doctors that signed this petition to take Joe Rogan down, some of them were nutritionists, dentists, bloggers. They weren't doctors, all of them. But the headline reads like hundreds of doctors against Joe Rogan. It's misinformation. It's manipulated reality. Some people right now are living in manipulated reality. And I think it's about time we all break out of this goddamn matrix and get on with our lives. We've had years of this. And I, for one, I'm sick of it. And I posted a funny meme on Twitter. I'm going to share that with you because it's funny. And the meme says, now that COVID has ended, and I get it. It's not ended. That's factually inaccurate. It's still going, right? But I share this meme, and everyone globbed on, and I got some nasty messages for sharing this meme. But it's a joke, okay? Everyone, now that COVID is done, we can get back to normal, right? And the United States government, best I could do is war with Russia. It's almost as if the narrative is falling apart. And I spent some time today talking on the phone with my friend from over the pond in England. And he's shocked. According to my friend, who's very well-read, intelligent, and critical thinker, who I trust his judgment. But again, this is just his opinion that he shared with me earlier today on a Facebook call. He told me that in England, the entire narrative just hit a 180. They have done an entire 180. No more mandates, no more, passes, no more shutdowns, no more masks. Apparently the British government has done an entire 180 on this thing. And people are surprised in England. They can't believe the turnaround that they've just jumped right into. Okay, we're through this thing and we're going to stop all of these tyrannical things that we've been doing to you for 2 years so you can get on with your life. Maybe, just maybe, the narrative here is collapsing. Maybe rush to censor everyone and to stifle debate and discussion? Why can't we talk about things? We're supposed to have freedom of speech, especially I especially disagree with trying to cancel Joe Rogan. All he's doing is having conversations. We can't listen to a conversation between Joe Rogan and a recognized expert on certain topics. We got to cancel him. We got to try to force Spotify to take him off their platform. And by the way, it's not going to happen. He's making them hundreds of millions of dollars, and they paid hundreds of millions of dollars to get him on their platform. He's their cash cow now. They're not going to give up their cash cow for some washed up rock star that hasn't written a top 10 song in 50 years like Neil Young. But the attempt to cancel him tells you everything. They don't even want us to have a conversation. They don't want us to hear from experts whose opinions may differ from the party line here. And I say, give everybody all of the information. Let people make up their own mind, use their own discernment, critically think and decide for themselves. But to simply cancel world-renowned experts, to throw them off of social media so that people won't hear their voices anymore, is tyrannical and wrong. We should have the right to hear everyone's opinion. Everyone should have a right. Now, granted, there are some wackadoos out there, people that aren't doctors who claim they are, or who have fake credentials or are selling snake oil. Yeah, those are the times that we should have a heavy hand and take people off. If you're spreading absolute garbage and you're not a doctor, sure, you should be deleted. And I get the argument. They're private companies. They could do what they want. But what most people don't seem to understand is that the tech giants are working in concert, in unison with each other. Somebody gets canceled on one platform, the other 3 or 4 big tech companies jump in and pull them off too. It's an injustice to not allow us to discuss these things openly and honestly when we're sure of someone's credentials and they have an expertise in the field. But more and more people are standing up and saying no. And thank God that Joe Rogan moved to Spotify during this. Because if he was, I guarantee you, if he was on another platform, they would have deleted his videos, deleted his channel, and that would be the end of any opposing views. You see, opposing views are good. Debate is good. I say let everybody get all of the information. Let's hear all the experts' opinions before we just lockstep in line. Okay, you know exactly. Okay, we'll just do exactly what you said, and the truth is what you say it is. The truth is not always so black and white. Sometimes there's a lot of gray, and you got to trudge through the gray area to get to it. I disagree with my federal government's decision to shut down all the small businesses. I disagree with how they did not provide funding or relief for those people who they forced to not be able to earn a living and feed their family. I disagree with the tyrannical government telling me who and what I can listen to or consume as far as media, especially when the corporate media that we are given here in this country have been caught lying to us time and time again since this thing began 2 years ago. How many times do you let a person in your life lie to you before you say, stop, I'm not listening to you anymore? You've lied to me many, many times. I can't trust what you're telling me is the truth. So I'm going to listen to somebody else who hasn't lied to me yet, who has allowed open debate and dialogue, who has consulted with experts and had conversations that they shared with people, that they allowed people to hear and consume and make up their own mind. We are not autonomous robots that are just going to jump in line when the government tells us to. Anybody reading the history of the United States should know we're a nation of rebels and renegades. We don't like authority figures telling us how to live our lives. We started a revolution over a penny tax on tea. But the rich, the powerful, the elite believe that they can continue with these tyrannical, totalitarian steps to control us indefinitely. When have we ever seen the government get new, broad-reaching powers that they then surrendered? Look what happened in the case of the Patriot Act. They don't surrender power. They always want more. They don't surrender control of the populace. They always want more. And especially if the middle class people don't start standing up to these rich idiots that are trying to control our lives, there won't be any middle class left anymore. They don't want the middle class. They want peasants. Easily controllable, stupid, struggling, starving peasants that will do whatever they say in order to keep eating every day. But this is where we find ourselves. And I apologize. I am getting emotional here because I have been holding my tongue on these issues for some 2 years now. And I apologize for that. That was wrong of me. I kept meaning to, like, let's go to another platform and talk about these things. I shouldn't hold all this in, and I should be honest with my audience about what I think. And I think about the 150 or 250 times that somebody asked my opinion on these things in the live chat for the past 2 years, and I said, we don't talk about that. We can't. I don't have an opinion. Of course I have opinions, strong ones. But I have been muzzled even as an independent journalist. They still have a method and means of controlling your free speech. We don't have free speech anymore. That's gone. We haven't had that in this country for 10 years. The techno giants control speech now. That's the world that we live in. That's the reality. And we can all just put our heads in the sand and pretend it's not happening, or we can stand up and say no more. I really don't know what the future holds, especially in regard to this thing and where it is leading us. Where are we heading? Are we heading towards an end of these restrictions, of these mandates, of these totalitarian dictators trying to control our lives and business owners' lives? Do you know that I know somebody in Philadelphia who owns a restaurant who has to lose hundreds of dollars every week because he had to hire a security guard to stand in front of his business and check people for their passport before they were allowed entry? Why should that business owner have to pay for that? It's not his choice. He doesn't want to check people. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to stop somebody from eating because they didn't have whatever. He doesn't care, like he wants to earn a living. He wants to run his restaurant, but he has to lose hundreds and hundreds of dollars to comply with the government mandates. Why shouldn't the government post somebody outside of every restaurant? Why should the business owner eat that expense? Again, an attempt to destroy the middle class, to suck us dry so that they can control us easier when we are depleted of resources and finances in which we could use to fight their injustice. I don't believe that a business owner should have to lose money because he has to pay somebody to stand outside of his business and check people's papers. What is this, Nazi Germany? You got your papers? You can't eat. If you don't have your papers, you can't eat in many major cities now. The city I was born and raised in, Philadelphia, can't believe it. Can't eat. Gotta show your papers. And again, I'm no health expert. Consult your doctor. I am a supporter of vaccines, a huge supporter of them. I am not a supporter of mandates and papers and proof of that. And anyone, whatever happened to the HIPAA laws where you don't have to disclose your medical history, right? Or your medical history remains private unless you give permission. I don't recall millions of people suddenly saying, Well, yeah, thanks, government. This is a private medical choice that I made, but I'll submit to have to disclose my private medical choices to, I don't know, Pizza Hut, Applebee's. Everybody gets to know my medical history here of recent events because the government said so. Where are the HIPAA laws? Why is this legal? Why is this allowed? What kind of madness have we descended into? But I suppose there are two roads here before us. And one road, this stuff is going to continue. We don't know. There could be a new variant next week. I just read there's a subvariant now, right? There could be new variants next week that may be more transmissible, more lethal. We don't know. There could be new variants next week. There could be new lockdowns for all we know. Look what's happening in Australia. Of course, they took those people's guns. See what good that did their populace? The first thing totalitarian dictators do is take away the weapons of the people who may oppose them. I find it to be an interesting coincidence in timing that right before this began, well, not right before, but before this began, the Australian people lost their right to keep and bear arms. God forbid they come for the guns of us Americans, because we don't play when it comes to that. It's a very passionate issue, right? I believe that it may not have gotten to the level of Australia and some other Western civilizations and countries because their citizenry still has the right to have weapons. Mike Williams says the UN passed a resolution to censor all Holocaust denial. Well, I would kind of support that. I hate Holocaust deniers. With US in support, a precedent that will be used for the continued abuse of free speech. Yeah, it's a slippery slope, right? Spooky, thank you very much. We will go over there and share that. I want to remind everybody, too, that we are a viewer-supported show, and we read each and every single super chat. So if you want to support fierce, independent journalists, 1 second. My wife is correcting me. Food places in Philadelphia were not shut down. You just couldn't dine in during the lockdowns. But now you need a passport in order to dine in. So there's that. One moment here. We're getting to some drone footage from Ottawa. This is great. Great footage. Thanks, Spooky. Thanks to our contributing producer. I say that I don't have a producer, but I have a contributing producer, which is almost as good, but Spooky's very busy with, hosting another show and some other things. Helps out. Always great help. So thank you. This is interesting footage of this fringe minority of people with terrible ideas, or what was it? Dangerous ideas? Just a small fringe minority. Wow, that's loud. Yeah. I do want to mention that PolitiFact earlier, the fact checkers pointed out that there's probably, I don't know that they use the word probably. Let me be very accurate. They said that there is likely 1,200 or less trucks. Now, we've seen all of this footage today. Does it look like PolitiFact was right? Now, I get it. There might not be 50,000, but to say there's only 1,200, let's see what this looks like tomorrow, PolitiFact. Interesting. Fringe minority. Fringe minority. That's all it is. Wow. Thank you, Lord Ludicrous Plaid, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Saying, keep up the great work and passion. It's important. Yes, it is. Thank you. Continuing supporter, Lord Ludicrous Plaid, big supporter of the show. Always happy to have your support and always happy to see you in the live chat. Praise the cash. Thank you, Lord Ludicrous Plaid. Just a small fringe minority. And remember, this is just as the first trucks began to arrive in Ottawa. This isn't all of them. There's a whole convoy heading right up Justin Trudeau's ass. They'll all be there. Various reports are saying by tomorrow. And there is convoys of trucks, apparently, from the United States and from British Columbia also there. Mike Williams pointing out there was a recent court case that forced these fact checkers to admit they are political opinion, not fact. Exactly. That was a Facebook lawsuit, Mike Williams. We mentioned it earlier. So the fact checkers don't have facts. They have political opinions, according to Facebook's own court documents. You look at it, it's just a small fringe minority of people with bad ideas.
I want to share some.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I muted the mic. Gosh, I need a red button, a red light, right? So, yeah, looks like more than a small fringe minority to me. But who knows? Who knows how many trucks are headed to Ottawa tonight? And God bless all of those people. And I will pray for a peaceful outcome to this situation. I hope that the protests remain peaceful, that there is no violence or destruction. But those Canadians tend to be a lot more polite and civil than Americans. So if I had to guess, I would say this is going to be a peaceful event tomorrow. But if you're a praying kind of a person or meditating kind of a person, couldn't help to send calm, healing vibes to those people that are involved in this. And that girl, Jessica, says dangerous ideas. Yes, absolutely. These people have dangerous ideas, that girl, Jessica. So we've been here for 2 hours. I've got a little bit more time that I could share with you. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a short musical break. We read each and every single super chat that we get here. We've gotten one so far in the 2 hours. Thank you, Lord Ludicrous Plaid, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. This is a viewer-supported show, so one great way to help us continue to bring you the truth when the government apparently is lying to you, the corporate media apparently is lying to you, and apparently everyone's lying to us, trying to manipulate us, trying to manipulate the story, trying to control the narrative. If you believe in independent journalists that will stop people from controlling the narrative, a good way to support us is to throw a few bucks in our hat. There we see Gobstopper with the kind and generous £5 super sticker. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. We appreciate you, and God bless you as you bless us and our show here. God bless you and your family, Gobstopper, longtime supporter of the show and chat room participant. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. Ripped Hits reminding people stock up on food, might get a bit bumpy. Hey, if these governments, if the United States, what happens if the United States government and the Canadian government really piss off these truckers and they just go on strike and say, we're not gonna truck food into any of your supermarkets for the next 3 weeks, month? What would happen? There would be total chaos and civil unrest and a lot of problems. So I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope that the totalitarian dictators finally realize that we're not going to bend the knee. We're not going to be manipulated any longer. We're not going to be controlled. People have had enough, and I get that it's not over. But we've seen time and time again that these measures and science don't match up so well. So my hope is that the totalitarian dictators, the despots, seeking to control the population for whatever, will wise up and realize that they've had 2 years of control, 2 years of forcing things down our throat, whether we want or agree with it or not. And I think that largely people have been, I don't want to say supportive, but people have fallen in line. People have said, okay, we've got to do this. It'll stop the spread. Or, okay, we've got to do this. That'll stop the spread. It's also worthy of note that I did some research on the Spanish flu of 1918. That lasted 2 years, and then it pittered out. Now, I'm not an expert, and I'm not saying that this is pittering out, but I'm hopeful that maybe we're on the tail end of this. I sure hope so. I think we've all had enough stress and anxiety and paranoia and fear, right? Patrick Sheehan with a kind and generous $9.99 super sticker. Thank you. Patrick Sheehan's a big supporter. Always happy to see Patrick Sheehan in our live chat, usually because he drops a 10 spot. So, no, but I like Patrick Sheehan and his opinions and his participation in our live chat. Big supporter of the show. Absolutely a pivotal part of our live chat. Wouldn't want to do it without you, Patrick Sheehan. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a short musical break with a very appropriate song we played earlier. It's called Go Canada, and I'll put the link to it in the description of the video. It's in the link to our last video. The link is in the description. We're going to take a very short musical break, and when I return, I'm going to read all super chats, and then we'll take comments, questions, suggestions for future shows. Let me know what you think in the live chat. Please put comments for me in all capital letters. You'll notice the glasses. I happen to have one paralyzed eye, and you putting it in caps really does help a visually impaired person more easily read it and recognize that that comment is for me and meant to be shared on the screen. So if you'd like me to share your comment, your question, suggestion, whatever, please put it in all capital letters. And when I return from this short musical break, we'll read any remaining super chats. So please get them in. We'll be wrapping things up shortly. We'll read any remaining super chats. We'll check in with the PayPal donators and read those out. If you do happen to send a PayPal donation, please add a note. Put your live chat user ID in the note line and any message you want us to shout out. We recognize every single supporter here. Unlike some shows, we read every single super chat. I think that's important that we recognize our supporters here. After all, this is a viewer-supported show, and we do this with your support. Your help keeps this going. And I can't tell you what an attitude of gratitude you all have given me. So anyone else feeling generous, want to throw a few bucks in our hat, get those super chats in. When I return, we'll take comments, questions, suggestions from the live chat. Please put them in all caps. We'll be right back, friends.
Freedom! Nothing but!
Not sure why. We had Frozen. So breaking in a little bit early, but that's quite all right. So I want to welcome everybody back. We'll read any remaining super chats. I'll take comments and questions from the live chat. That was very anticlimactic, not being able to play the whole song. I don't know what happened there. Never saw it freeze like that. Aaron Flores says, used to be a trucker. People that aren't fed up yet will be real soon if the trucks stop. Whoa, that is an excellent observation, Aaron Flores, and I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Let's see how fed up people get when they can't get whatever they want, right? The entire backbone of the supply chain is those truckers, right? Bruce Adderby saying, "Rockin' in the Free World." Ironic. This is one of the 3 songs of Neil's. Yeah, that's one of his only good songs. 50 years, he was bound to write one good song, Bruce Adderbury. Yeah, and thank you, Aaron Flores, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated, right? Welcome to the show, asking, what are your thoughts on autonomous driverless trucks? Well, I'm a technology guy, and I'm very interested in computers and computer science. So I think that's the future, and I think that's the way it should be. After all, there are some assurances by people developing that technology that accidents will go down to almost nothing when we remove the human from the equation. However, I'm still sad because there are many, many people will lose their jobs. And what are you going to tell them to do? Learn to code? You know, some people have been truck drivers for 20, 30, 40 years and not ready to retire yet. What are all those people going to do? I think it's going to be about 5 years. In about 5 years, that technology will be viable and it will be deployed. So 10 max, absolutely max, 10 more years, and there will not be human truck drivers. And that's a little bit sad, of course, for those people. What are they going to do for work, right? And it's not just truck drivers, Uber drivers, taxi drivers, small truck deliveries, Amazon drivers. All drivers are going to lose their jobs when that happens. And that's a huge segment of the workforce. So it's very, very problematic in some ways. But I understand he can't stand in the way of progress, right? Patrick Sheehan asking where the yellow glasses are. Yeah, I have them here, but I have them right here, Patrick. But you know what's interesting is there's no pad, there's no nose pad. Some glasses have a little pad, and these are kind of heavy, and they actually hurt my face after a while. So, but I've got a bunch of these, so I'm going to make adjustments, and they'll be back in short order, Patrick. I know everybody commented on they like those yellow glasses better than these dark ones. I tend to prefer the dark ones because with the yellow ones, you can still see my eye being wonky sometimes, but it's not as noticeable as if I was wearing no glasses. So, and by the way, there's some asshole on Twitter making fun of me for having a paralyzed eye today. Congratulations to that prick. I hope he gets ass cancer and dies. You know, it's interesting to me that the trolls and the critics of my show, they never go after the evidence that we present here or the facts that we present or the research that I do to present the stories that they disagree with. No, they always go after my appearance and me wearing glasses. So I reminded them that I have a paralyzed eye, and then he made it even worse by making a picture of me with wonky eyes. Great, nice people. But I violated the rule, which is not to respond to nameless, faceless people. If I'm going to speak to you, you know who I am. You see my profile picture. That's my name. If you're going to want interaction from me, then show me your face and your name. And if not, I'm just not going to reply anymore, you know, but that pissed me off. I said, like, hey, you're making fun of me for having a disability. You know, like maybe you could find some guys in wheelchairs and tell them to stop being so lazy, get the hell up out of that chair and walk, pal. You know, there's just some things you don't do. You don't make fun of something somebody can't control, like a physical disability. Then another one of the clowns, it's funny, it's a whole thread of like nameless, faceless people dogging on me. They went after my Facebook pictures and found a picture of me. Interestingly, they're telling everybody what an asshole I am and what a terrible human being I am. And then they shared a picture of me when I was doing free magic shows for underprivileged children in the inner city of Philadelphia. I thought that was funny. You're doing a thread telling everybody what an asshole I am, and you're sharing my charity work. And by the way, for those that don't know, I volunteered in Philadelphia for years at St. Christopher's Hospital for Children. I did shows there constantly, always for free. And Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, I did shows there constantly, always for free. I had a list of 12 different churches that were in the inner city. And because it was explained to me by a minister who ministers to a very poor community, he said, I wish my congregation, I wish we had it in our budget to hire you to do a show for the kids for my church, because some of them have never seen a magician live in person and they would really get a kick out of it. I said, what are you doing this weekend? And he said, what do you mean? I said, let's do it. I don't want any money. And then I volunteered and did that all over Philadelphia, always in poor places, the inner city. Anyway, I thought it was funny. This prick is dogging on me for having a paralyzed eye and telling everybody what an asshole I am while he's sharing pictures of me doing wonderful charitable work, volunteering my time and energy for free for underprivileged inner city youth. Gotta love these assholes. Oh, you gotta love them. Shelly Shock says, F the haters, Stephen. Don't know you except from the show, but from what I see here, feel you're a beautiful soul inside and out. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Pragmagic says, you're such a jerk for bringing joy to inner city youth. Yeah. And Pragmagic, when I pointed out that you're making fun of my disability, the guy said, oh, well, are the glasses also the cause of you being an asshole? Sorry, not sorry, or something like that. You know, or like, no regrets. Great people on Twitter, right? And again, they never attack the research and the facts that we present here because they can't. So they got to go after me personally, make fun of me. Oh, you look like Kylo Ren, or you look like Grandma's boy. Boy, is that some low-hanging fruit. Like, that's the best you got, you prick? That's the best you got, right? And really, this is what happens when brothers and sisters get married. You know, that's what happens. They have children like that. Mongoloid assholes, right? Rip Hit says, I would love to do some journalism together. Well, send me your work. You can email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. And Jello Putin says, Stephen Cambian, I love you, dude. Awesome. Any comments from me? Put them in live chat in caps yeah, do that. Patrick Sheehan commenting that little minds go after little details of little consequence. Yes. Ripped Hits, I'm in Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, but moved about 2 years to the city, to the suburbs of Philadelphia. I'm in a small town called Warminster. That girl Jessica ready to attack, saying he's lucky I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't feel the need to unleash the horde on them. I can defend myself. But I made a fundamental mistake, which is when somebody is a nameless, faceless, keyboard warrior, coward on Twitter, there's a reason that they're hiding their face. And you never know who you're talking to. I have a good idea who it is, by the way. Chris77 commenting on my shirt. Yes, it's a Cobra Kai shirt. I got to tell you, I really enjoyed the Cobra Kai series. I loved Karate Kid growing up. It's what got me into the martial arts initially. Yes. Strike fast, strike hard, no mercy, Pragmagic, right? But hey, if you do like Karate Kid growing up, I encourage you to watch this Cobra Kai series. It was so much better. I truly enjoyed it. I had low expectations. I'm like, even if I just like it a little bit, I'll be okay. You know how people get upset when when you bring something back and it's terrible, I determined I'm not going to get upset if I don't like it. I thought it was very well done. I thought they did a great job. They brought young people into it, and it was dramatic, and you've got this incredible dynamic of these two former enemies becoming friends, and just great. Patrick Sheehan says, when are we having a fan cookout at your cabin? I'm thinking about doing that. We're going to call it Contact in the Mountains. If I could find enough, spots for people to prop a tent up and places for people to park, or we may do it at a local state forest that is right near the cabin. In other words, I can't have 150 cars show up to the cabin, especially considering the dirt roads, but I could at the state park, maybe. Maybe we could have a barbecue there, and we could truck people back and forth to see the cabin, maybe. I just can't park 150 people, Patrick Sheehan, but I would be interested in doing that and putting some faces to the names and finally getting to meet many of you in person. Many of you I consider friends. You've been in my chat for years and been a part of my life, so I would certainly welcome that. That girl Jessica says, I'm super let down by the Wheel of Time. My standards were low, but geez. Yeah, that's unfortunate, right? Contact at the cabin. Yes, welcome to the show. Mike Gambelli says, 50,000 cars convoy. From your mouth to God's ears. I hope someday we have 50,000 subscribers. I just want to mention that thanks to all the recent new subscribers, because we are rapidly approaching 5,000 subscribers. We took a big jump recently with some new things that we were doing. Sometimes these veering off adventures work out in our favor, right? Ripped Hits said, you're a cool guy. Glad I found your channel. Yes, send us yours. We'll check out your work. Is it just Ripped Hits on? Oh, that's interesting. Ripped Hits on YouTube. Let's take a look at what you do. Ripped Hits. You said you're an independent journalist. No, not finding your channel. It must be something else, and that's just a user ID. That's fine. Just let us know. You could email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. Bruce Atterby is messaging me on Facebook saying, I would love to get in on the barbecue and help. Sure. Ash Dobbs with a kind and generous $10 super chat says, thanks for the show. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Ash Dobbs, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. I truly appreciate it. Well, Ripped Hits, you can email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com and let me know where I can see your work, and we'll try to Ripped Hits, not with a T. It's hits. Okay, I get it. Yes. So Ash Dobbs, I'm still thanking Ash Dobbs for the kindness, generosity, and support of the show, continuing support of the show, and live chat participant. We appreciate your kindness, your generosity, and your support in helping us to continue this amazing journey where I get to take all of you with me for this amazing journey. Jello Putin says, sweep the leg. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Ripped Hit says, I don't film, but I want to. So what do you do? Blog then? You're an independent journalist, but you don't have a camera? I don't know. Spooky says, I want to build a house from the towel. On the rise, reminding everybody, we do have a Discord, right? So if you enjoy live chats with like-minded individuals, you would enjoy our Discord. We have a meme section. We have a link section. We have a section on Bob Lazar and a few other things, cryptid creatures. We have a general chat. You can chat with people, fellow truth seekers, 24/7 in our Discord live chat, and I highly recommend that you check that out. Pragmagic says, I'll help you finish yours if you build mine in Taos. Well, Pragmagic, if you're really serious about building a cabin, it might be worth your time to come and visit mine, and I can show you some of my building construction methods and save you a shit ton of money on materials. My whole cabin was built out of trees and trash. The windows were picked out of the trash. The walls are made of logs, most of them. And the sunroom was made out of windows, a huge amount of windows that we got from a neighbor who was he was actually, Pragmagic, all those windows that made up the entire sunroom or most of the walls of the sunroom came from a neighbor of mine. He was going to break all the glass and recycle the aluminum. And I said, well, how much is that in aluminum? He goes, I don't know, $50. And I'm like, for all these windows, I'll give you $100 or something like that. I don't remember, but it was something like that. Anyway, yeah. So not exactly trash, but very cheap windows, built an entire sunroom. You got to be resourceful if you don't have the money, right? If you don't have the money to do something, you have to trade time, energy, passion, and luck. It just so happened that a neighbor very close to the cabin had this huge amount of windows in their garage that they were going to break the glass out of and recycle the aluminum frames from, right? Pragmagic says, we're surveying the land in Taos as we speak. Might start with a schoolie or big yurt as we build. I would recommend the schoolie. I don't like yurts. I don't know. I spent some time in one. It was drafty. It was cold. It's just a tent with a deck. I don't like yurts. They don't hold heat, so they're not good in the winter, right? Even if you have a wood stove, you're going to be blaring that wood stove. The schoolie is a much better option. And if you're interested in resources for that, Pragmagic, I have a friend who lives in one full-time, a schoolie, on some wooded land that he bought. And he's doing the same thing. He's living in the school bus, which he converted to an RV while he builds the house, or in his case, it's a cottage. He's not calling it a cabin or a house. It's a cottage, right? Tit's saying that a yurt is awesome. Yeah, I agree. They can be fun in warm weather climates. I would not want to be in one. I would not want to be in one if it was cold out, right? The Tao of house building is real, or Tao of house building is real. Yeah. Feng Shui, Patrick Sheehan. Yeah. We're surveying in Taos as we speak. Okay, we got that one. Sorry. Yeah, Pragmagic says you could add a wood furnace and a good yurt. Great warmth. Yeah, let me know how you feel about that after your first winter in one. Because I did wintertime in a yurt, Pragmagic. I didn't like it. I mean, I was warm when I was sitting right in front of the wood stove, but otherwise the whole rest of the place was a drafty, freezing cold. You know, I didn't like it. I much prefer the cabin. Rip Tit says, maybe a cheap RV you can fix up over time and build your property up. Exactly. On the Rise says, I'm eventually going to get 2 storage containers to build off in the woods on my land. Good for you, On the Rise. I'd love to hear more about that. Let me know in the Discord chat. So, friends, we accomplished what we wanted to today. In fact, we weren't going to cover this at all, but on the insistence of my contributing producer, who always insisted I work when I said I wasn't working today, Spooky's always making me work. Like, no, you should cover this. It's a good story, and nobody's. I said, yeah, all right, let's do it. So we've got 2 extra shows in today. When I was planning on 0 shows today, I was going to do some other things, but I'm glad that I was able to come here today, get some things off my chest about this crisis that we've been in for 2 years, and lend some support. Yeah, Spooky reminding everybody to stay hungry and humble. Absolutely. Let's stay hungry and humble, Spooky, always. And let's continue to make the universe get out of our way. I'm big on that. So today, we did a public service informing people about what's really going on in Ottawa when the mainstream media is largely silent on this. It's amazing that they're just going to ignore it. Like, what is this? Is this like ostrich time, head in the sand? If I just don't look at it, it's not happening. If we just don't acknowledge it, this is not going away. This just may be the biggest protest in Canadian history. And I will be checking in with some of my Canadian friends tomorrow to see just how big it is, and also checking in with any live streams. We may do an update about just how big the protest is going to be tomorrow. I, for one, can't wait to see what happens, but I'm a little apprehensive because I'm concerned. I don't want there to be violence. We've had reports that there's Antifa and other groups converging on Ottawa right now, and that could be a powder keg. Very easily something could pop off. I'm going to pray for a peaceful end to the protest, and I'll pray for peace. That's all we can do. And I'll keep peace in my meditations and send those people peaceful vibes and hope that they express their concerns in a peaceful, productive manner without any violence or anything. Without any violence. Let's all pray that there's no violence and they just peacefully protest. I support everyone's right to express their opinions and peacefully protest anything that they believe to be an injustice. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Your voice should be heard, even if it trembles, right? Make sure that your voice is heard, even if it's going to tremble. Yeah, Jimmy Dore, I follow him sometimes. Not regularly, but every once in a while I catch one of his videos. I like the guy. I think he's doing great work. Jimmy Dore showing an article that we need 3.5% of the people to get on the streets and we will have change. Yeah, it does not take that much. It doesn't take that much. Now I feel like I'm left out of the loop. Spooky's sharing a link in the live chat. I don't know what that's about. Let's see what that's about. Wow, yeah, let's share this. That's some good news, Spooky. We'll share that on the way out here. Huge shout out to our friend Judy in Ontario, who at age 76 has been baking all day long in order to feed the truckers tomorrow morning. She is thrilled to be able to help in some small way. Bless her heart. We're proud of her and anyone else who is helping the truckers, and it goes without saying, we love all the truckers and the people who have joined the convoy. Our gratitude is immense. God bless you, Judy. Thank you for what you're doing. And I'm glad that you can do something and contribute to the cause. See, everybody can contribute to the cause. It's important that we do. Edward Snowden is also sharing a tweet that says, nobody has stronger opinions about Joe Rogan than people who have never listened to Joe Rogan. Good to see Edward Snowden supporting him. Many people are coming to his defense in the face of this cancel culture that we live in. It's the new world we live in. I disagree with him. Take him off. Destroy his business. Don't let him speak to anyone anymore. Let's destroy his business that he has been building for 20 years? Because I disagree with something that he said, or I don't like a guest he had and what his guest had to say. It's absolutely ridiculous. What are we, a bunch of... This nation has descended into a nation of pussies. I'm sorry. That's the only good word for it. It's a nation of pussies sometimes. You don't like what Joe Rogan is saying on his show, don't watch it. It's that simple. You don't like what somebody is saying on the radio, change the channel. It's simple. Change the channel if you don't like it. You don't need to take away that guy's livelihood and business and ability to feed his family. Now, in the case of Joe Rogan, he's rich as shit due to that recent Spotify deal. I don't think his kids are in any danger of starving, but still, he provided a tremendous value to the world, and he built that podcast from nothing, right? And actually, I took Joe Rogan's advice when I started this podcast. Joe Rogan's advice is to go there every day and water that garden. For surely, if you go there every day, you put your time, energy, your passion, and your dedication into it, surely, if you water that garden every day, that garden will grow. Look it up. He said this. I listened to that right before I started this new show. Well, it's not new anymore, but at the time it was new to me. And I thought, Joe Rogan's right. I'm just going to go in there every day and put the work in. And if I just go in there every day and I put the work in, the garden's going to grow. And God damn it, here we are. Right? You cannot harvest anything unless you plant the seed, unless you tend the garden. water the garden, care for the garden, love the garden, then you will get to the harvest, and you will be able to harvest the fruits of your bounty, of your efforts. I think Joe Rogan is great. I think that he is an asset to the world. I don't agree with everything he says. I think he's kind of a knucklehead sometimes, especially about Bob Lazar. Oh, he got that one wrong. But I can agree to disagree with him on that. I'd love to be able to show someday educating him about that shit. From my mouth to God's ears. Maybe someday that could happen. You never know, right? I hold open all possibilities, right? Simon Fly asking, can I buy crystal skulls here? No. And I don't sell diarrhea tea either. I will not help you get the tea so that you can shit your pants for 2 weeks straight. Okay? We don't do crystal skulls or shit yourself tea or terrible coffee here, Simon Fly. What are you trying to trigger me? Trying to upset me? No crystal skulls. By the way, I believe it's one more business week, and our copyright issues with a certain slimy, greasy paranormal show host will be resolved. And I'm looking forward to it, because as soon as that strike is down, I'm about to unload on some bitch. Some bitch. I'm about to unload on some bitch. We'll see. We'll see what I have to say. But I'm doing what I'm told right now, which is to shut up and let the overlords do what they need to do. I'm told the overlords will side with us. They've already sided with us in 3 of the 4 of the videos, and one of them is a duplicate of the one that remains. It's just the edited version remains because we cut out some dead air. But they already agreed with me on the original video, which was a live stream, that was fair use. So we're hopeful and confident that YouTube is going to go, yeah, it's the same video, just you only edited out 4 minutes of dead air. We approved that it is fair use on the other video, so we're going to approve it on this one. A short time remains, and it'll all be resolved. Rogue Status has agreed. Rogan is a good, honest dude, doesn't take shit from anyone, and build his thing from the ground up. I have very little respect for people who are rich, that started out rich or inherited a lot of their money, or have what's called generational wealth. I've never respected people like that. I'm like, yeah, you started with $10 million. I don't care if you got to 100. You started with 10, you know? But self-made millionaires have always fascinated me. In fact, I read autobiographies of self-made millionaires because I'm always interested in, like, can I learn how to do what they did? They did this by themselves. They didn't start with millions. They generated millions. Those are the kind of powerful, passionate, creative powerhouses that I want to fill my mind with their ideas and their methodology and their philosophy for how to succeed in life. You know, I don't really care about some guy who was born rich that's still rich, but self-made millionaires fascinate me. I read autobiographies of many. Yeah. So what can I say, friends? We did our due diligence today. Spooky made me work for, I think, 4 hours just in live streams today that I wasn't planning on doing. And we did a public service today, letting people know what happened with our, letting people know what happened in Ottawa today, when there's basically a media blackout. These rich, powerful, elite assholes don't want the peasants to know that you could say, I do not comply, and we will resist you. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to see other people resisting their agendas. They don't want you to see other people standing up and saying, no more of this shit, we've had enough. They want you peasants to sit there in ignorance and not even know that that's going on right across the border in Canada. The Canadians, the English, near as I can tell, the Australians, and the United States, all of Western English-speaking civilization is ignoring this story. Again, if we just don't look at it, we can pretend it's not happening. They're going to have a hard time ignoring maybe tens of thousands of trucks and protesters rolling into the city square there in Ottawa tomorrow. There are trucks still on the way. I'm looking at the live feeds of some of the traffic cameras that the Canadian government hasn't managed to take down. They're trucks from all over, and they are rolling into Ottawa right now as we speak. They're all supposed to arrive by tomorrow. Shell Shock with a kind and generous $4.99 super chat. Well, thank you, Shell, for your kindness, your generosity, and showing some love. We love you. Thank you. We love all of our supporters. We love all of our viewers, but especially our supporters. This is a viewer-supported show, so thank you for helping us to continue this journey. Shell Shock, good to see you here in the live chat. You have given me an attitude of gratitude, Shell Shock. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Yeah, Rogue Status says, Steve and I are getting hit. Got a couple of inches now, more through the night. I heard we're getting 12, Rogue Status, but it's okay. I'm all stocked up on, the essentials, liquor, No, my wife went shopping today, so just to stock us up. We're good. We've got a fireplace here. In case of a power failure, we can still cook and, stay warm until the power is restored. We got a lot of power failures here, Rogue Status. It's like the wind blows funny and the electricity goes out. Yeah. So hope you make it through the storm. I'm sure that we will be fine here, Just a little bit of shoveling to do tomorrow. Oh, yeah, here we go. Franklin Mathers from Canada is saying, Stephen, the news in Ontario is showing next to nothing on TV for this. They are avoiding showing huge crowds, too. Yes, we've highlighted that the news literally got caught turning the camera away from the crowds so that they wouldn't get on TV and people wouldn't know just how big these crowds are. This is the manipulation of this snake corporate media that don't want you to live in reality. If something's happening for Franklin Mathers, I want to know what's really happening. I don't want to live in some fantasy world where some corporate dictators and, totalitarian dictators and some corporate media owned by the corporate dictators is going to pretend that things aren't happening when they are. You can't live in ignorance. This is happening in Ottawa tomorrow. They're not going to be able to stop all the live streamers, all the citizen journalists, all the reporters that are independent and have a voice. They're all going to descend on Ottawa tomorrow. They can't stop us all, Franklin Mathers. So I say, God bless all those people that are going to help us tomorrow to get the real truth of what's really happening, that are going to show us just how many people show up to this thing. And God bless all the truckers and their families, and God bless all the protesters and their families. Hopefully, like I said, it will be a peaceful, well-attended event. People will get their opinion across, have their voices heard. So we did what we could today, friends. We came here and we fought the good fight against the corporate media blackout of this event. Somebody's got to cover it. And I said, if nobody's going to talk about this and show people what's really happening, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And I'm proud. I'm proud that we did. I think the world needs more honest journalists that are going to show people what's really happening, not these assholes that have to manipulate the camera angles so that you don't see how many people, thousands of people have showed up. They try to manipulate the public to thinking there's only a few people there. Thousands, tens of thousands. From what I see from the live feeds, it looks like trucks are pouring in from all over Canada. I don't know about the United States and British Columbia, but according to reports, there's trucks pouring in from the United States and British Columbia that will arrive at the protest site by tomorrow. So God bless all those freedom-loving people who are standing up for their rights. And yeah, that's where we're at. God bless all those people. And God bless you, my audience, for showing up and not being controlled by a manipulated corporate entity that wants to control your mind and put you in some goddamn alternate reality where this isn't happening. It's happening, and it cannot be stopped. They can't stop us all, right? It's like that. They can't stop us all. It's like a Rage Against the Machine lyric. Can't stop us all, right? Good luck. And it's amazing to me that the powerful forces, the totalitarian governments, who have basically suspended any rule of actual law and their own constitutions or guiding principles. They have, co-opted the media and controlled the media to push their narrative and their agenda. We've got big tech signing up to censor any opposing voices. These are very powerful forces that we're facing, but they can't stop us all. That's what I keep thinking, and that's where I'm at with this whole thing. So what can I say, friends? It's been a long day, but an exciting one and a gratifying one that we were able to bring this story, which is the truth, to people that are hungry for what's really going on, that want to see what's really going on. We brought that to you, and I'm proud of it, and proud of my consulting producer for nudging me to do the right thing today and get up off my ass on what would have been a day off. Maybe I'll have a day off tomorrow, if not Sunday. We'll see what happens. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. Always happy when there's an audience. Tonight we had an amazing audience earlier today for our previous part 1. You might want to see that if you missed it. I was a little more pissed off in that. So if you're the sort of viewer that likes me yelling and getting pissed off or being angry, the earlier one might be something that you want to check into. Please do like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. That's another way that they can't stop us all. For all I know, these videos will be taken off of social media in a short order. But we've already copied copies of them, and we're going to be tweeting and retweeting and putting them on different social media platforms. Take a moment. Copy the address of this video, share it on your social media. Help us get the word out as to what is really happening here. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, you are part of the rebellion now, right? Share this video. Help us reach more viewers with the actual truth of what's going on. Do not allow the corporate media to control the narrative and lull people into a false reality. Fight the power, friends. So until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.